Well, figure I'd get on here. This is for some of you younger men and women. More so for probably the men, but it'll apply to women too. You know, it's like they find themselves in a world that is tough. A lot of them spend a lot of time with mom and dad working, lower middle class, upper middle class, and they they had the little extras in life, the little more perks in life. Then all of a sudden one day it's like, well, I'm on my own. You know, it's like I'm getting older. I got to figure out what I want to do. When I was in high school, I remember the kids that knew what they were wanting to do usually followed in their parents' footsteps. It was like we had some kids, or the father or the mother was a lawyer or a doctor, dentist, stuff like that, and they wanted to follow in those footsteps. It was kind of like there wasn't any question. This is what I'm doing. So they pretty much had their life path picked out because they would go to work for or with their father or their mother that was already a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, or something. They were just entering the practice. So it was kind of their life was already pretty much planned out for them. They knew what they were going to do. Then you had other people that had interests, and they're like, yeah, I want to do that, or I want to do this. But I believe a majority of them were kind of like, well, that kind of interests me, and that kind of does. That kind of scares me. They weren't real sure what they wanted to do in life yet. You're still young. And as people have found out, college is expensive, and you got to pay back student loans, and you can defer them, but it racks up. And my my attitude about a young kid today is, and it was years ago too. If you can, and it interests you, and you have an aptitude for it, and you may not even find out you have an aptitude for it. You may think, oh, this is terrible, I don't want to do that. And you get into it, you might find it, it's not so bad. The trades. Now, you've probably heard this before, but you have steam fitters, and, you have, HVAC, air conditioning, heating. You have carpenters, you have iron workers, you have operating engineers, which is bulldozers, cranes, stuff like that. Uh, you know, welders, which would fall probably into more your steam fitters. But you have a lot of trades like that. And the thing of it is less and less young people are getting into that. So they need them. And they'll pay you and teach you and show you on the job also. Yeah, you'll have to go to some classes and stuff like that, but usually, you get paid to learn this stuff, which is a pretty good deal. Beats going into debt. And when you get out, you're an apprentice, and they'll put you with somebody for how many every years they think, and some of you may go a year or two and go, wow, this guy's good, this gal's good. Probably be on their own. Some, take a little longer, but eventually you get there. Now all of a sudden, you're making pretty good money. I personally have known electricians, gals, making over six figure, plumbers making over six figure. Yeah, the money's there. So don't overlook the trades. You have electricians and stuff too. I mean, I might have repeated myself, but you just got to sit back and think about what you want to do. And there's nothing wrong with an entry level job like a cook or a food server or such, because you might find out you might have an aptitude for it. And what I mean is being in the service industry like that. They're always looking for shift supervisors and managers and things like that, and you don't know. You may have a good aptitude for that and move right up. Might have the personality for it, and you'll make decent money. And the biggest thing you can do for yourself is don't get yourself into debt. Try to stay away from that. Try to stay out of debt. If you don't need a charge card, don't get one. Just don't even have one. That gets people in trouble. And live more on the frugal side of things. If you if you're working and your bills are this much and you have X amount of dollars left over, which that's why you work, is to pay yourself. So the dollars left over, you pay yourself. Now, once you got it established to the point to where, yeah, these are my bills, I'll allot for X amount just for some spending cash, and I will give myself X amount of dollars because I earned it. Pay yourself first then. After you get it established and you figured it out, pay yourself first. Then pay everybody else. Because the object of working is not to pay everyone else and give them your money. The object is to give yourself money. Okay? That's the object. Save some money. People are like, well, cars are expensive and such. You're right, they are. If you don't have an aptitude to work on them, try to buy something that's a good used vehicle. If you don't know anything about them, find someone that does. A father, an uncle, maybe a service guy. You might run across somebody that's a mechanic, and he might be like, well, yeah, if you find something that you're interested in, you know, and you know the guy, or your father, somebody knows him, in fact, yeah, I'll go along with you, or, yeah, ask the principal if you could bring it by the shop, I'll take a look at it. Before you lay your hard-earned money down for something that has a major problem, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I just spent all my money on this car and it needs a transmission, it's slipping, or the engine's got a knock to it, or, it's got some problems, and it's not cheap to fix. So, if you don't know much about them, get a second opinion. Because you don't want to get taken. And if you do have some aptitude towards it, the easiest thing to work on's a pickup truck. Really. I mean, you can find something in the 80s, the 90s, mid 90s, even if you go back into the 70s, if you can find something that's decent. A lot of times, these trucks guys think they're worth more than they are worth, but don't be taken by that. Like with anything you buy, go to the Kelly Blue Book or Edmunds and see what they're going for roughly. See what they're going for in your area roughly. And condition is everything. If it needs some work, it's not worth what they're asking probably it's you look at, well, that's middle of the road, in poor shape it's worth this. This is in poor shape, that's about what it's worth, and the guy's asking too much for it. You can talk to them. Maybe they put, usually people put a little wiggle room in, and maybe you can get it for a reasonable price. And if you have to work on it, engines are easy to work on. Engines are easy to change. Transmissions are easy to work on and to change. Rear ends. I mean, it's an easy. Trucks are easier to work on in those years. And I'm talking about 70s, 80s, 90s. Up to about mid 90s, I'd say. So, do they get as is the gas mileage as good? Well, no. But you don't need something with a big block in it. A small 350 still not going to be really great mileage, but 305, 6-cylinder, V6, something like that, and depending on the truck. What you're trying to do is, especially if you find something that needs a transmission or an engine, then it's basically you call up a salvage yard that buys cars and say, hey, what's tell them what the year is, kind of like what the body shape is. Say it's got a bad motor, bad transmission, whatever, and they'll say, well, it's worth about X amount of dollars, because they sell the parts off it and then they'll scrap it for weight. So you got an idea what the thing's worth. You try to go to Edmunds or see what they're kind of going for in your area. It gives you an idea what they're going for, so what they're worth that way on the retail side, not the wholesale or the side. And then you say, okay, what would an engine or a transmission or whatever cost me? Well, the vehicle costs you this much, engine or transmission costs you this much. You'll do the work. Are you breaking even on it? Well, that's not so bad, but it'd be nice if you could come in less, and maybe the thing's worth $500, maybe $1,000, depending on what it is, maybe a couple thousand more than what you actually have in the vehicle, including buying it. You're doing all right then. It's about being frugal. Same thing with clothes. Go to your thrift stores. Go to your your garage sales and stuff. Pick things like that up. Pick them up cheap. Because the money you save is your money. It's that simple. If you can save a few dollars, that's just more money in your pocket. Instead of going out and spending it, you want to save money. It helps. I mean, they say a lot of these people live paycheck to paycheck. You don't want to do that. You don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. You want to have a buffer. And if you find yourself having some free time on your hands, or more than you think, it's like, well, I could get a second job 10, 15 hours a week. Maybe, somebody doesn't want to work Friday nights someplace, and it's like, well, yeah, we need somebody to work like the weekends. And you're like, well, I can do that. Instead of going out and running around with your buddies, partying, having some beers at cost, and doing things like that, and maybe getting foolish, you're making money. Maybe this is extra money that's like, yeah, I can save all this because, I don't need it to live off of. I can actually save this. You're that much further ahead of the game. Don't be lazy. The only way you succeed in life is by hard work. That's it. The government is not going to give you anything at all, period. And if they do, it's not enough to live off of. It's enough to keep you poor your whole life and make you lazy. You're going to feel better about yourself when you're out there earning and you look back and you say, man, I got some money saved. It's like, that's good. And you'll feel good. You'll be proud of yourself. You're doing this. No one else is doing it. You're doing it yourself. And you should be proud of yourself. Instead of sitting in the basement, playing games and stuff, you're out earning. And even for someone that's even younger, that's still with mom and dad and stuff, it doesn't hurt to the people down the road here, they're elderly. Well, you might not want to be out there scooping snow, and who knows what type of weather, how cold or whatever. He might be like, oh yeah, that'd be nice. You want to shovel? Oh yeah, okay. I'd just ask him, well, what's it worth to you? I mean, just give me a price. He'd probably be like, well, what do you want for it? Shoot him $20. And he goes, well, that's a little steep. I'll give you 15. Well, okay. You were planning on 15 anyways. Let's say it takes you, 20, 30 minutes. Well, that's pretty good money. $15. Hell, if you could get the next door neighbor on either side or across the street, you just walk across the street, $15 more, that's $30 an hour. That ain't so bad. Same thing with mowing grass and things like that. I mean, it just comes back to you're willing to do it. A lot of these people aren't. A lot of these kids aren't willing to put that in. And they spend their money on foolish things. I still see it today. I see grown men just wasting money on things. And we're not talking about a little money. They go buy these ATVs or UTVs and stuff. I mean, these are 25, 30 grand or better. It's like, what is wrong with you? Go buy a truck for that. A boat is just a money pit. I mean, if you've ever had a boat, they're just a money pit. Shouldn't say boat, it should say money pit on it. And you want to stay away from some things like that. You don't want things that cost you a lot of money that you're just constantly dumping into. It's senseless. It's just like buying games. I mean, I have some rental properties, and I go in and I have to clean stuff up sometimes because people are slobs. And that's another place where you might be able to find some extra money, especially if you have a pickup truck. Hey, go and clean up a few places for people. They'll pay you a few $100 easy just to go clean it up. Anyways, you'll find these receipts and stuff like at GameStop, and it's like, these games are how much? That much? They're spending their money on games that cost what? It's like, to me, that's insane. Why? First of all, you spent the money on, I don't know, I call it foolishness. And then on top of that, you're sitting there in front of this thing going like this, doing what? Are you making money? Are you earning? Are you bettering yourself by doing that? I don't see it. But I am old school. Hell, I grew up walking beans, detasseling, baling hay, digging fence posts. I mean, you name it, I did it. But that's what we did. Today, there ain't much of that going on. You go buy yourself a big round baler because you can't get anybody to help you bale. I mean, you could pay them $20, $25 an hour and they still don't want to do it. It's hard work. And that's the other thing. It's hard work. Keep yourself in decent shape. You're young. Try to stay away from this garbage. And I'm talking about if you're out running around, you're hungry. Hey, go to some place like Dairy Queen or I'm trying to think of places that have like specials sometimes, like two for whatever, 2 for $5 or 2 for $7, like couple sandwiches for couple, for a few dollars. When you break the sandwich down, it costs you a few dollars. Just get the sandwiches. 2 for $5 or 2 for $7. No, I don't want anything to drink. No, don't want any fries. Just okay. That's it. You find out you save quite a bit of money. Well, what the hell? I forget what the hell I was doing. And, I had somebody helping me, and what was it? They wanted to get something to eat, so I was like, okay, we'll swing into this Wendy's real quick. They wanted to charge me like $18 for 2 sandwiches, and I'm like, not in this lifetime. We left. It's like, I'm not doing that. Nope. Ain't spending that kind of money. I saved myself that much. I think we went down to like Dairy Queen and they had like 2 for $5 or something like that. Hell, for $10, we both got 2 sandwiches. Of course, I always carry a cooler with water or whatever in it. But my point being is I didn't spend a bunch of money frivolously. And plus, you start eating a lot of that fried foods and stuff. I mean, it slows you down. It makes you sluggish. It causes inflammation in your joints and things like that. And you just don't feel like you want to work. If you're gonna eat potato chips, stuff like that, man, that's just garbage. They put a lot of those preservatives and crap, and people wonder why they end up with diabetes and cancer and all this other weird crap. It's like, try to stay away from stuff like that. I know a lot of it tastes good, but you'll pay for it. You're young. Your body bounces back good, but as you get older, it may not bounce back so well. It's one of those things where when you're young, you want to take care of your body. You want to take care of yourself. You want to have a good mental image of yourself. You want to be proud of yourself. And when you're out there doing things, you're saving money, you're working, you're being frugal, you're doing everything right. You're not running around, let's see how much we can drink tonight. I mean, I know guys my age that still do that stupid crap, but it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Nothing wrong with having a beer or two. 10 or 20? Well, that's another story. And the thing of it is, too, is a lot of kids today, God's the first thing from their mind. No matter what you do in life, you should always put God first. I want you to look up in Revelations 20, chapter 20, verse 12, and read it. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Because when you're young like that, the less mistakes you could make in your life, the better off you are. If you do it while you're young, you got a lot less to answer for. That's for sure. and you'll live a better life. There's a lot of advice I can give you, and I'm gonna have to make some other videos on it. But the biggest thing is stay out of debt. Work, pay yourself first. Don't be stupid and think, oh, I gotta have this big sound system. I gotta have these fancy, I don't know, 22s, and I mean the rims and tires cost more than the car does. It's like, how you gonna? That's foolish. I mean, even if you tried to sell the things, it's like nobody's gonna give you what you paid for it. So, just try to try to fight those things. Try to look away from the stupidity of others. I mean, it's always like the old adage: it's better to learn from somebody else's mistakes. But I was going back to God. Always put God first in your life. Would God approve of this? Treat people kindly. Treat your fellow brother, your neighbor, as thyself. Don't be one of those people that wants to sit there and make fun of somebody. I've always looked at things like that could be my dad, that could be my mother, that could be my brother, it could be one of my kids, your grandkids. Wouldn't you want somebody to help them if they were in a bad way? I'm not talking about being taken advantage of, but I'm just saying. I mean, think about it. If you had a daughter or son and they were a little overweight, would you want some? Would you find it funny that other kids are laughing at them and calling them chubby and fat and everything else? You wouldn't know that. You'd want to go kick some little ass, is what you'd want to go do. When kids start that stuff, it's like, hey, no. And people using derogatory stuff towards other people. And I'm not going to say it because I don't. It disgusts me when people call each other, even when blacks start calling each other the N word. It's like, what is wrong with you? It's just like, people calling people derogatory names like that. It's like, no. People, our society's fallen apart because people have come away and fallen away from their values and their morals. The devil runs rampant. He wants you to do these things. He wants you to run around and try to hook up with every woman or guy you can. There you go. Get a taste of that. Try to get away from that. That's worse than any drug you could possibly ever get into. And it'll kill your soul. There's verses too, if you want to read them. If you've made it this far, if I haven't bored you to death. 1 Corinthians, chapters 6, 7, and 11. And even people that are married should read 11. But I'm just saying, if you read them, you'll be like, wow. I could explain them, but I'll be paraphrasing and I could leave things out The last thing I ever want to do is mislead someone. I don't ever want to mislead anyone. And no matter what in life, always praise God and thank Him. I mean, He's creator of the universe, people. He could snuff us like that. And that's what people don't understand. We're here because of Him, to glorify Him. And when you try to be as good a person as you could possibly be, people will look at you, and you'll be an honorable person. You'll be a righteous person. And people will see that by your works, by how you conduct yourself. A lot of the younger generations has been raised by these violent video games, and what some skankily dressed girls in it, and videos, some, I think it's gross, twerking all over the damn. It's like, what is this gross? I mean, this is R-rated stuff. It shouldn't even be on television. Period. Some of the stuff is, I mean, and these songs and music and stuff, the things they say, is just vulgar. And this stuff messes with your mind. I mean, you got little kids going, yeah, the beat, it's like boop, 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 or whatever, and they just think this is cool, man. It's like, no. That is Satan leading you right into hell. That's what it is. They look up to the older kids. And that's what the problem is. It just becomes a subculture. It goes from here down, 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 down until it gets to the point to where, man, can it be fixed? You don't know. You don't know. But hopefully, at the end of the day, even if it's not fixed, even if this world goes to hell and it's burning, you personally are saved by Jesus Christ, your Savior. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you still get into paradise. I mean, all the stuff I talked about first is stuff to help you in society. But all that means absolutely nothing if you spend eternity in hell. It means absolutely nothing. What we all try to do is we're all on this journey, and this journey is to get to heaven. Try to be as righteous as the best person you can, and ask for forgiveness, ask for the wisdom and the knowledge. You have a smartphone, great. You have a smartphone. Do you need to carry a Bible with you all the time? No, but you could put it on your smartphone. You could have access, I don't know, probably to Google or whatever, and have a thing, bookmark in there that says, okay, here, click it, and the Bible pops up, and you're like, well, I think I'll read a little of this or read a little of that. You don't have to go start from the very beginning. You can if you like. You can start from the very back and read back if you like. Start wherever you like. You'll find things that are interesting to you, and you'll just go, oh, that, wow. And all of a sudden, things start clicking in your mind. You're like, wow, wow, wow. Adults should do that. I mean, people that are, 70, 80, 90 years old should do that. Everyone should do that. I think you kind of got my point on things. I'll bring up some other stuff. But this is just something to try to get yourself right with. On this planet, this beast system that we live in, this lawless system we live in, it takes money. And I'm not going to go into it all, but it takes money to live and to succeed. There's right ways to do it and wrong ways to do it. And you want to do it the right way. You want your Heavenly Father to be proud of you too. You want to look in the mirror and be proud of yourself. A lot of this depression and stuff starts with you don't feel good about yourself. I mean, how can anybody feel good about themselves? They're sitting there in the little thing in their game chair going and playing on the computer all the time, and they forget how to talk to people. They forget how to interact with people. Oh, it's one thing to see your friends, it's somebody else, see a total stranger. Job interview, all kinds of things. You understand what I'm saying. I don't know if it helps, but I sure hope it does. It's just something to think about. And it ain't easy. It's called responsibility. That's what you're going to have your whole life is responsibility. If not responsibility to a wife, a girlfriend, children, whatever, you have a responsibility to yourself. And you have a responsibility to God. Well, I hope you all take care. Wish you the best. Really do. Wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. I'm not that kind of person. You know, I don't sit here and say, oh, I love everybody. It's like, there are some people I don't care for much. Yeah, they're usually the toxic people. I just try to stay the hell away from because it's like, just don't. You'll figure that out too. We can talk about that if you want. Let me know your feedback. I mean, when you click the thing and you like something, and the more people that, if I see 10 people watch this and I got 9 likes, it's like, well, I hit a chord with somebody. Most of them like it. That's good. Or better yet, comments too. It lets me know what I'm saying you like, or tell me I'm full of shit. Tell me I don't know anything. Tell me I'm an idiot. You might not be too far off. I mean, come on. You know, I'm no Einstein, that's for damn sure. But you gotta let stuff roll off your back too. Never sell yourself short. You got a lot to offer the world.